Good day, everyone. This is the Wandering Yuki once again, here with a quick segment. I am forgetting that it's actually St. Patrick's Day. This whole year feels like a blur that I don't know, forgot about that once again. I should be having a pint of Guinness right now to celebrate the Irish heritage. Because, I mean, we're all Irish on St. Patrick's Day, aren't we? But I think I'm going to go with the next best thing today. I'm going to go green, so I'm going to make some pickles. What's more St. Patty's Day than the green vinegared pickles, right? Right? Oh yeah, just in case this looks familiar to you, yeah, you probably remember I made some pickles in the past, but I figured it wouldn't hurt to have this isolated so I could give you a quick tutorial on how to make them at home. Super simple, but super tasty. So here's what you do. So for the amount of pickles that I'm going to be presenting, make sure that you have 2 large mason jars like these over here. And then you're going to need to fill them up with cucumbers. Some recipes are going to say that you can use those pickling cucumbers specially designed for it. Me personally, I prefer to use these Lebanese or Quebec cucumbers because they're a bit more thin, and that means I can actually fit a lot more in here. Use the pickling cucumbers. Sometimes they're so huge that it's going to be a tight squeeze to get them all in the jar. Of course, you want to make sure these jars are clean. So if you don't have a brush to really get in to kind of scrub it in, just to fill up with some boiling water. That ought to kill all the germs in there. Then once you got that, you got to prepare your seasoning for it. Your basic seasoning is going to require some garlic. You need at least 1 clove per jar, but because I'm feeling generous with myself, I'm going to use 2 in each, or 2.5 I suppose, based on this size. And then make sure that you're going to be slicing them in half and throw it in. That way all the juices that are in the cloves are going to mix in with the rest of your brine, and it's going to give it a nice flavor. Plus you'll notice too that once it mixes in, it may change color to green on the cloves. That is completely normal, that's just a chemical reaction. Once that's in, you're going to also need some dill. I'm using dill seeds, so for each jar you need about a good teaspoon of it. Of course, the best option, if you happen to have some fresh herbs laying around, is to get like a good bunch of dill leaves and then put them in. So then throw that into the jar here. And then you're all prepped up for these. The next thing you gotta do is prepare the brine. In terms of your brine, it's really just basic 3 ingredients that you would need. Water, vinegar, and salt. So my suggestion would be to use 1 cup of vinegar and then maybe put around 3.5 cups of water in this thing. Some recipes are going to say that you should probably put 2 cups of vinegar, 2 cups of water. That would make it a bit too vinegary, and I find that when you put it as 1 as opposed to 2, it still has a good taste. Some actually say it's 2 and 2. I'm putting an extra 1/2 cup for good measure, and you'll see why later on. And then for your salt. It does take a bit of coarse salt over here. So what I like to use is a big bag of this stuff that's called coarse pickling salt. You can find it in both grocery stores, fruit stores, anywhere. And this amount you need about a good 1.5 tablespoons. I'm going to do 3 of them because I'm using a 1/2 tablespoon to make it easier to calculate. 2, 3, just like that. And then you put it on and set it to a boil. So then between the salt, vinegar, water, dill, garlic, you have everything you need to have your basic pickle. You're probably going to see in the stores there's some packages of pickling spices that have a lot more to it, like I imagine coriander and other stuff. And while those are pretty good, if you just have at least these basic ingredients, you have enough to make a decent pickle, you know? Take it from me. Would a guy like myself lie to you? Would this face lie to you? Whatever right the case, let's get this boiled. It's been boiling for... Ooh, I had to turn off the fan because I want to hear my voice. So once it starts boiling for about a minute, cut the heat off, and then you can just pour this into the jar. I just want to be careful because this is hot water after all. Just pour it in. You want to make sure you have enough water so that it covers all the cucumbers in here. So stop here. They're all submerged. Now let's go on to jar number 2. I've had some experiences before where if I put Overall, 1 cup of vinegar, 3 cups of water. It actually was not enough to cover the whole jar. So that's how I started to do this with an extra half cup, just to make sure I had enough to cover up every bit of the jar so that they're completely submerged. There. So now these are covered up. You're gonna have a little bit of excess, but that's like not the end of the world. Vinegar, salt water, you're not losing a thing. And then once that's all in, these jars are gonna have a little watertight seal lid on top with a screw part to kind of put it into place. So push this down, give it a twist, actually give it a couple of twists, and there. Do that for the second one. Then you'll have your pickles ready to go. What you may have to do is give it a bit of a shake, just to make sure that everything is going to be mixing well together. That one's fine. This one's fine too. The last time I did this, I actually had some leakage in here, meaning I probably should replace these jars. I was living with my parents back when we bought these things, so chances are they're going to need to be overdone and redone. Overdone jars? How does that work? Here I am making up vocabulary as I go along. So then, as these are going to be fermenting, this top over here that presses down is not going to press because it's going to compress downwards afterwards. You know, kind of like when it pops off when you open a pickle jar in the grocery store. Just like that. This is going to need about a good 24 hours minimum. You could go a little bit longer to make sure it tastes like pickles. So you just have to find a cool, dry place over here. Somewhere like a pantry, you have a cupboard, or something that's not exposed to sunlight. Just keep it aside. And that is how you make your pickles. Happy St. Patty's Day, everyone. This has been a quickie edition of the Wine and Yuki Cheese Cafe. Just don't forget, I'm going to be doing more while I'm on vacation. So stay tuned, subscribe, like, comment, share it with anyone you want. The more viewers I get, the merrier I am. Yippee!